Every single day you walk, you're slowly losing the very thing that keeps you alive past 75. And the exercise your doctor told you to do is making it worse. If you are over 60 and you want to stay strong, independent, and out of the hospital, subscribe to this channel right now. We share real science-backed health tips every single day that your doctor simply does not have time to tell you. Hit that subscribe button. Do it before we go any further. Because what I am about to share could genuinely change the rest of your life. Now, here is something that took years of watching real patients, real outcomes, and real research to understand. Walking is good. Nobody is saying walking is bad. But after age 75, your body is dealing with a problem that walking alone simply cannot fix. And most people have no idea this problem even exists until it is too late. That problem is called sarcopenia. That is a fancy word. Let me explain it simply. Sarcopenia means your muscles are shrinking. Not because you're lazy, not because you're sick, just because you're aging. After age 75, most people lose between 3 and 5% of their muscle mass every single year. Every single year. That is like slowly letting the air out of a tire without ever stopping to notice. And here is the big promise. By the end of this video, you're going to know the one exercise that attacks sarcopenia directly, protects your bones, cuts your risk of falling in half, and has been specifically approved and recommended by orthopedic surgeons. It is not complicated. It does not require a gym membership. And it is something you can start today. Now, before we continue, I want to hear from you. Drop your age and where you are watching from right in the comments below. Are you in Florida, Texas, the UK, Australia? It genuinely helps to know who is watching, so we can keep making content that is useful for you. Go ahead and type it in. I will be reading the comments, so here is what most people get wrong. Most people over 75 are told the same thing. Walk every day, 30 minutes, get those steps in. And yes, walking has benefits. It helps your heart, it helps your mood, it helps circulation. But here's the thing. Walking is what doctors call a low-resistance repetitive movement. That means it does not challenge your muscles enough to stop them from shrinking. It is like watering a plant, but never giving it sunlight. You are doing something. But you are missing the most important ingredient. A 2021 study from the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom found something remarkable. Adults over 70 who did resistance exercise just twice a week preserved up to 97% of their muscle mass over a 12-week period. The group that only walked lost measurable muscle during that same time. Let that sink in. Same amount of effort, completely different results. And the statistics on what happens when seniors lose too much muscle are genuinely alarming. Falls are the #1 cause of injury-related death in adults over 75 in the United States. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls every single year. And once you fall and break a hip, your chances of dying within 1 year jump to between 20 and 30%. These are real numbers from the Centers for Disease Control. And most of those falls are caused not by slippery floors, but by weak muscles that could not catch the body in time. That is why the exercise I'm going to walk you through today is not just better than walking. For people over 75, it may be the most important physical thing you can do, period. The exercise is resistance training, also called strength training or muscle training. Before you click away, stay with me. Because what I am describing is not lifting heavy weights in a gym. I am talking about simple, gentle, controlled movements using resistance bands, light dumbbells, or even just your own body weight. Things you can do sitting in a chair. Things that take 20 minutes, 3 times a week. That is it. Let us go through the 5 biggest reasons this works. And we are going to count down from 5 to 1. Because the #1 reason is the one that surprises most people the most. Number 5, it stops your muscles from disappearing. Most people think muscle loss is just a cosmetic thing. You get a little thinner, your arms look smaller. No big deal. But actually, muscle loss is a survival issue. Your muscles are not just for movement. They are your body's metabolism engine. They help control your blood sugar. They protect your joints. They are the scaffold that holds your skeleton together. Think of your muscles like the walls of a house. If the walls get weak, everything starts to lean. The roof sags. The floors crack. The whole structure becomes dangerous. That is what happens to your body when muscle disappears. A 2022 study from Tufts University in Massachusetts found that older adults who did resistance training twice a week for 6 months increased their muscle mass by an average of 2.5 pounds. That may not sound like much, but when you're losing 3 to 5% of your muscle every year after 75, gaining 2.5 pounds back is enormous. It is like patching the walls of that house before they collapse. How do you do it? Start with seated leg raises. Sit in a sturdy chair, slowly lift one leg until it is straight. Hold for 3 seconds. Lower it slowly. Do 10 of these on each side. That is 1 set. 3 sets total. That is it for day 1. Slow and controlled is the goal. Not fast, not heavy, just deliberate. Number 4, it cuts your fall risk in half. Here is the thing most people do not connect. Falls do not happen because you were clumsy. Falls happen because the small stabilizing muscles around your ankles, knees, and hips were not strong enough to react in time. When your foot catches on a rug, your body has about a quarter of a second to self-correct. If your muscles are weak, they simply cannot do it fast enough, and down you go. Resistance training directly trains those stabilizing muscles, not just the big ones you can see, the small, deep muscles that act like shock absorbers and stabilizers every single moment you are upright. A 2019 study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden followed over 200 adults aged 70 to 84 for 3 years. Those who did regular resistance training had a 43% lower rate of falls compared to the walking-only group. Not 10%, not 15%, 43%. That is almost cutting your fall risk in half just by adding simple strength exercises to your week. The practical move here is calf raises. Stand behind a sturdy chair, hold the back for balance. Slowly rise up on your toes. Hold for 2 seconds. Lower slowly. Do 15 repetitions, 3 sets. This directly trains the ankle stabilizers that stop you from falling when the ground is uneven. Do these daily. They take 4 minutes. 4 minutes to cut your fall risk by nearly half. But wait until you hear what number 3 does. This one surprised even experienced orthopedic surgeons when the data came in. Number 3, it rebuilds your bone density. Quick question for you. Have you noticed that your back feels a little more stiff than it used to? That you feel a little shorter than you were in your 40s? Comment yes or no below right now. Because if the answer is yes, this section is especially for you. After 75, bone loss accelerates, especially in women after menopause, but also in men. The medical word is osteoporosis. It means your bones have become porous, like a sponge. They look fine from the outside, but inside they have tiny holes where solid bone used to be. A hard bump, a simple twist. And those bones can crack. Walking does help bones a little. The impact of your foot hitting the ground does send a mild signal to your bones to stay strong. But that signal is weak and repetitive. Your bones adapt to it quickly and stop responding to it. Resistance training sends a much stronger signal. When a muscle contracts against resistance, it pulls on the bone it is attached to. That pulling force is like a wake-up call to your bone cells. It tells them to build more bone, to get denser, to get stronger. Think of it like this. Walking gives your bones a gentle tap. Resistance training gives them a firm, deliberate knock. And bones respond to that knock. A 2023 study from McMaster University in Canada found that postmenopausal women over 70 who did resistance training 3 times a week for 1 year increased their hip bone density by 1.8%. The comparison group that only walked saw a 0.6% decrease during the same period. One group gained density, the other group lost it. Same age, same amount of exercise time, completely different results. The exercise here is a simple wall push-up. Stand about arm's length from a wall. Place both palms flat on the wall. Slowly bend your elbows and lean your chest toward the wall. Then push back. 10 repetitions, 3 sets. This loads the bones of your wrists, forearms, and shoulders in a gentle, controlled way. No floor required. No getting down and up. Just you and a wall. Number 2, it protects your heart better than you think. Before we go further, if this video is making sense so far, if you're learning things that your doctor never took the time to explain, hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more videos like this. And it helps more seniors like you find this information when they need it most. Now, most people think heart health is all about cardio. Running, swimming, biking, aerobic exercise, and yes, all of those are good. But there is a growing mountain of evidence that resistance training does something for your heart that cardio alone cannot do. Here is the thing. Your heart is a muscle, but it is also deeply affected by what the rest of your muscles are doing. When you have strong skeletal muscles, those muscles pull blood through your body more efficiently. They act like helper pumps, taking pressure off your heart, reducing the workload it has to do every single minute of every single day. A 2020 study from the American College of Cardiology analyzed data from over 4,000 adults aged 65 and older. It found that those who did at least 2 sessions of resistance training per week had a 41% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease compared to those who did cardio only. Not cardiovascular exercise, not diet changes, resistance training alone, 41%. And resistance training has also been shown to lower resting blood pressure. A 2022 review from Johns Hopkins University analyzed 50 separate studies and found that regular resistance exercise reduced systolic blood pressure, that is the top number, by an average of 8 points. That is comparable to what some blood pressure medications achieve, without a single pill. The exercise to support this is the seated row with a resistance band. Sit in a chair. Loop a resistance band around a bedpost or a door handle at chest height. Hold both ends. Slowly pull the band toward your chest. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Hold for 1 second. Release slowly. 10 repetitions, 3 sets. This engages your back muscles, your core, your arms, and indirectly supports heart function every time you do it. And now we are at the number one reason, the one that changes everything. The one that most surgeons will tell you is the single most important reason they recommend resistance training over walking for patients over 75. Number one, it keeps you independent. I would love to hear your story for a moment. What made you click on this video today? Was it a fall, a close call, a friend who ended up in a nursing home, or just a quiet fear that things are starting to slip? Share that in the comments. I read them. And your story might help someone else who is going through the same thing. Because here's the truth that nobody talks about openly. The number one reason seniors over 75 lose their independence is not cancer. It is not heart disease. It is not stroke. It is muscle weakness. It is the slow, quiet, invisible loss of strength that eventually makes it impossible to get up from a chair without help, to walk to the mailbox without a cane, to carry groceries from the car without assistance. Once that independence goes, everything changes. The emotional cost alone is devastating. Study after study shows that loss of independence is one of the strongest predictors of depression in older adults. And depression then accelerates physical decline. It becomes a cycle, a very hard cycle to break. But resistance training breaks that cycle before it starts. A landmark 2022 study from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society followed 3,000 adults aged 70 to 89 over 5 years. Those who did regular resistance training were 2.6 times more likely to maintain full independence in daily activities compared to those who did only walking. 2.6 times. They were more likely to still be dressing themselves, still cooking their own meals, still living in their own homes, not in a facility, not dependent on family. That is not a small difference. That is a life-changing difference. The practical starting point here is standing up from a chair. Sit near the front edge of a sturdy chair, slowly lean forward and stand up without using your hands. Then slowly lower yourself back down. Slowly is the key word. The lowering part is actually harder and more beneficial than the standing part. Start with 5 repetitions. Work up to 15 over a few weeks. This is called a sit-to-stand exercise. It is considered by many physical therapists to be the single most functional exercise a senior can do. Now, let us pump the brakes for a second. I'm not telling you to jump into a heavy workout program tomorrow. That is not what this is. And there are real precautions you need to know about before you start. If you have had a hip replacement, knee replacement, or recent surgery on any joint, you need to speak with your surgeon before starting any new exercise. Some of the movements I described are appropriate. Some may need to be modified. Your surgeon will know. If you have severe osteoporosis, that is, if you have already been told your bones are very thin, certain resistance exercises need to be avoided. Your doctor can steer you toward the ones that are safe. If you have heart failure or have had a recent cardiac event, get clearance first. In most cases, they will say yes, but you need that conversation first. And if you feel sharp pain during any exercise, stop immediately. Mild muscle fatigue is normal. That tired, burning feeling in your muscles after working them is normal. Sharp, stabbing, or joint pain is not normal. Stop, rest, and contact your doctor if the pain persists. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because starting safely means you can keep going for years. And that is the goal. So you are convinced. Good. But now you are thinking, how do I actually fit this into my life? What do I do on day 1? Here's the simplest possible plan. 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Or any 3 days that work for you. 20 minutes each session. That is all. Day 1, do seated leg raises and calf raises. Day 2, do wall push-ups and sit-to-stands. Day 3, do seated rows with a resistance band and calf raises again, rotate and repeat. Over time, as things get easier, add 1 extra repetition, or try a slightly firmer resistance band. Progress does not need to be fast. It just needs to keep going. If you do not have a resistance band, a basic set costs around $10 to $15 on most online retailers. They come in different colors that represent different resistance levels. Start with the lightest one. Work your way up over weeks and months. If you're watching this with a partner or a spouse, doing these exercises together makes a difference. Research from the University of Aberdeen in Scotland found that people who exercise with a partner are 41% more likely to stick with it. Find your person. Do it together. You do not need perfect form on day 1. You do not need fancy equipment. You do not need a trainer. You just need to start. Your body is remarkably responsive, even at 75, even at 80, even at 85. The research is very clear on this. It is never too late to start building muscle. It is never too late to get stronger. It is never too late to protect your independence. Look, there's a lot of noise out there. 100 different exercises, 100 different programs. Everybody claiming theirs is the best, so let me make this simple. You do not need to overthink this. You need one thing. You need to make your muscles work against some form of resistance at least twice a week for at least 20 minutes. That is the foundation. Everything else builds on top of that. Start with just one exercise today. The sit to stand. Sit in a chair right now after this video ends. Do 5 repetitions slowly with control. That is your beginning. Your body will tell you it is working. Your legs will feel more solid in 2 weeks. Your balance will feel sharper in a month. Your confidence will grow. And slowly, quietly, you will realize that you are not losing ground anymore. You are gaining it back. If this video helped you today, please hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it helps more people like you find this information. And if you want more honest, science-backed health tips every single day, make sure you are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss a video. Stay healthy, stay strong.